Hello, my name is Kevin. Do you have a Chase Bliss pedal and you don't quite understand these dip switches on the top? Well, I'm going to try and explain this to you as easily as possible, what they do and what they are. Let's look at it. We have our lovely friend here, the matriarch. This is going to help illustrate for us what is going on. So all the dip switches are adjusting the settings of your pedal, or they're adjusting the ramping features. The ramping features are just an LFO. So let's talk about what an LFO is. An LFO is a low frequency oscillator, and what it does is it will move a parameter for you so you don't have to. Let's look at that on the matriarch. I have an LFO right here, and I've hooked it up to this lovely cable. I'm going to put it into the pitch of this. We put on some headphones first. So there's our lovely sound, right? Now when I connect my LFO to something like the pitch, it will now move the pitch for me. Lovely. So at this point, what we can do is look at our friend the blooper. This is our example for today. Let's plug him in and get him all hooked up. Now that we're plugged in and we have a loop selected, we can go ahead and listen to it. This is a nice simple piano sound. Beautiful, right? Great. Now, what if I wanted it to sound worse? Now, what if I wanted that to happen continuously? Maybe something... Ooh. That's nice. We can do that using the dip switches. So that was a mod B over here. So we're going to flick the switch on mod B. And then I'm also going to do bounce, because the bounce setting allows it to move back and forth, just like we saw with our pitch. So now I'm going to play my loop, turn on my modifier, and we use the ramp knob, whichever knob says ramp underneath of it. That's the one we're going to adjust to fix our speed. And it's just like that. That's all it's doing, is it's adding an LFO. Now, if we turn bounce off, it's not going to continuously bounce like an LFO. Instead, it's just going to do it once and then be done. Listen closely. Mod B is on. Listen close. It went fast. Let's adjust our ramp. Did you hear it close? Let's do it again, a little slower. There we go. Now, again, the rest of these are all just settings. They're all just different settings. So anything that is white is just settings. That's it. The things that are not white are the knobs, and setting those to either ramp or expression. Ramp is just another word for one-shot LFO, or when you bounce it becomes a continuous LFO. So, what is a one-shot LFO, you might ask? Well, luckily for you, I have another example with the matriarch, and that is an envelope. Okay, so we're going to pull out our pitch, and I'm going to show you now using the cutoff what an envelope does. It's like a one-shot. It's just going to happen once. So we're going to make it go like this. Okay. Luckily for the matriarch, I can adjust one note, and it does that. That's a really dramatic example. But you get it. It just happens once, and then after that, it stays. Just like we saw with this guy when we hit play, and it closed that filter at the speed we determined, and then stayed closed while it continued to play. That's it. All right, let's do another example. Let's use mod A to really drive this home. Turn it off. That's what it sounds like. But because we're doing a one-time ramp of mod A, and mod A is set to the tape speed, that's bringing it all the way back, in this case, to reverse. What if we don't want that? I don't want it to go backwards. I like my loops going forwards. Well, let's do it this way. We can look at all of our white settings here, and we can see sweep here. There's a T and a B, top, bottom. Makes sense. Let's go to the top. And let's see what happens. Mod A is on, and let's go. What just happened? Let's go back to our settings. We have the sweep here is to the top, but the polarity is on fall. What? So all we have to do here is basically that's saying, you know, we're going to the top, but it's falling. So it's like they're fighting with each other a little bit. So let's bring this to rise, and then that should rise to the top instead of falling from the top to where we are. Ready? It's really pretty logical. I know that might seem confusing. Rewind, watch it again if that didn't make sense. Okay? The rest, you know, we have a bunch of other settings, but like that's fine. We're not diving into the blooper here. We're diving into the dip switches. This same thing applies for any other pedals that you might be using. Now, you might be saying, Kevin, you're a liar, okay? This is my Generation Lost Mark 2, and it is not following the same color pattern that you said it would be, okay? Well, listen, they're all a little different, okay? So I might be wrong about it not being always the ones in white or the ones that are colored, but it's still the same point. Some are knobs and some are just settings. Use your brain. You got this. You can do this, okay? Play around with it. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I hope that made a little bit more sense to you about how these dip switches work and what they do with these crazy machines. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Only like 90% of you are unsubscribed. Only? That means the majority? What the heck? Anyways, happy tinkering. Have some fun out there.